Yo, welcome back to another episode of Snacks and Raps. I am your host, RHIPS, and today we got another special guest with you. We got a beat producer, not just a beat producer. We got a producer, not just a producer. And we got none other than Disease 84 with us today, and he'll be introducing himself, but I just wanted to make sure to get ahead of that and introduce the homie to y'all. He's on the mic. You could hear him, chuckling away there. But we'll get to it, man. Make sure to drop all the links to some of his work in the, bottom there so that you guys can officially meet him. But let's bring him on screen real quick. All right.
Hey, how's it going? It's Disease 84. Thank you, Rips, for letting me be on your Snacks and Raps podcast. It's always an honor to work with you. So I go by Disease 84, a Oaxacan producer out from Los Angeles. So big shout out to all my Oaxacanos out there.
Yep.
I guess you could consider.
Talk about it, man. Talk about
I'm
it.
a producer.
Talk about it.
I
Who are you? Let the people know. Let the people know that don't know who you are.
So I've been
If you know, you know.
I've been producing music for 10 years, around there, a little bit more maybe. We
Been around the
released
block.
the first album maybe about 9 years ago, maybe the first album I produced. So it's been some time. Pretty happy to be where I'm at today. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I do at this point. Yeah, I guess you could call me a producer. If
Hell
anything.
yeah. A producer of what? What do you do? What kind of music or what?
I
Let the folks know, man.
guess you could call it hip hop or no. Well, you know what? No, I don't know. I just create music. The music that I when I like to chop up a lot of samples. That's pretty much what I do. And then every sample gives you a mood. So I think it's more hip hop if anything, but more into like kind of something that you would put behind a movie, like a soundtrack type vibe style. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with you in terms of, I see your hesitant. I can understand your hesitancy to classify yourself as just one, genre in terms of the music that you make. I think you're a musician, definitely. I think you're a musician that has spent over 10 years of dedicating himself to exploring the world of hip hop and the sound of hip hop, right? I know you to be someone that comes through with that boom bap type sound, but you don't just focus on that. I've heard the range of your sound, and sometimes I'm surprised. If I'm sure if you play that anything that you've made outside of the boom bap, uh, to any of your close homies, including myself, like I probably wouldn't know that it was you unless you say that's you.
Man, thank you for that, man. Because I guess when I'm creating, you just get this type of mood, I guess, from the samples, or even like sampling records, or I could say if you really get into a creative process, you want to do everything by yourself, like just without a sample. Always
Right.
take the challenge to accept it. I've done a couple of tracks that it's stepping out the comfort zone, but being that it's the first time, I'm not gonna quit. I'm just gonna keep going and then just
Right.
improve on that, and then you just build, just kind of like anything. You just try it the first time, and if you like it, you just keep going. And
Keep
you just
doing
run
it,
with
yeah.
it, man. You like Forrest Gump. They should give you the ball. You just run. You just keep running.
And I just felt like running.
You just keep running. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I've done.
You know, Yeah, definitely, man. Someone gave you the ball, or like someone gave you an NPC, tucked that shit underneath your arm, and you just took off, man. And you've been running for 10 years.
10 years, man.
And ended up over here and shit, in Inglewood, California, South Central LA.
That's crazy, man.
So, talk about your inspirations, man. What inspired you to become the beast that you are on the MPC and beyond?
you know, it's kind of hard. But as far as producers go, I was inspired by the RZA. You know, growing up here in LA, I know a lot of people listen to a lot of West Coast music, but growing up, man, it was more everything was more East Coast for me. When I first heard the Wu Tang CD, when it first came out, the double CD, I just became I became a big fan, and I was like, yo, whoever produces those cuts right there, that is fucking sick. So I knew I couldn't write any rhymes, so I was like, you know what, digging into more of if I ever had a chance to produce something, that I would create something in reference to what I was hearing that was coming from the East Coast, like the RZA at the time,
Okay.
DJ Premier, The Alchemist, DJ Stoop, Enemy of Mankind. Um, there's one more producer, Timbaland, like that's more of that commercial hip hop,
Sure.
but it had that different style that here in the West Coast, it almost I don't know. I just haven't. I guess I just haven't heard
It
a lot
was
of.
a different flavor.
It was a different. Yeah. All the influence that I've had is more of an East Coast reference,
Yeah.
and the inspiration, man. It's just crazy that I like I said, I don't get inspired by musicians to be quite honest. Um, the first president of Mexico, which was Benito Juarez, that guy, just by reading who he was, reading what he accomplished, that's inspiration right
Mm.
there. Because being that he was from Oaxaca, just the same way that my ancestors are, he was able to accomplish and defeat all odds. And even though he spoke Zapotec, he
Okay.
became the first president of Mexico. And that's where the inspiration grows. And I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, maybe I do have a couple. Like I have like some inspiration from musicians, but not as much as Benito Juarez does to me. And
Right.
that's what keeps pushing me every day, kind of thing. Just to like better yourself, knowing that just I guess in some way finding that inspiration in somebody else, kind of thing.
I see that. I see that. It's kind of like, I mean, because I can relate to what you're saying in terms of looking out into the world and then learning about those individuals out there that have extraordinary stories that move through everything from like chaos in their life to tragedy to being like beat down and like the underdog of all kinds of areas, right, in life, and then still being able to rise above all that and create what to us from the outside, looking in, appears to be like an amazing life, and keeps and leaves us wondering like, yo, how the heck did they
Yeah.
do that? How were they able to accomplish something like that? And even like searching within the depths of our own being to be like, yo, could I even do something like that? To leave
Yeah.
you wondering, even asking yourself that question, right? To take you to that point of being like, yo, could I?
Or just or if I kind of see it the other way I see it, that's one of the inspirations that I get from Benito Juarez. But I'm always inspired by life, man. Like if I take a trip, let's say I go down PCH, and to get to point A to point B where I'm going, I go through the traffic. I see these buildings being like they're fucking built from the ground up. So I see the whole structure, and I'm always thinking like, that's our brain right there. That if you start a foundation in your brain to learn what you want to learn about the concept, then you structure it just like the building, because by looking at just the foundation that they're building, you're like, when are they gonna be done?
Right.
But little by little, you start seeing it, and maybe within a year, that thing is a big complex. That's just how the brain, I think, like
Functions. Yeah.
functions. Because I get inspired by any little thing in life, man. Even if it's like my little nephew, or even if it's like any family relative or whatever, or even watching bugs outside. I get inspired by that, because they're like, these guys are working. They're working to get pollen. They're not
To
just
get through.
yeah. They're just working.
Doing life.
So it's like I get inspired by
Disease is deep, y'all. See, that's what I'm telling you, man. This guy is not just talking about beat making and playing the MPC.
Inspired
I
by
asked him
life.
what inspired him, and this fool went on to be like, "Yo, even the bugs inspire him," and that's facts, yo. Like that, I think speaks levels as to how present you are in the now. To not not to get philosophical on people or
Yeah.
anything like that, right? But like the whole concept of living in the now and being present here to what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're underscoring that and bringing that conversation into what influences your creative process, but also what inspires you to even create. You know what I mean? So I dig that. I dig the approach that you're taking, and even that like diving into that philosophical space. Because I think that's a lot of what human beings do sometimes, even creatives.
Yeah.
Creative artists like us, right? So um, that's dope, man. I'm glad that you're like super present there. Like we were joking off camera earlier, calling Dean Profits in the back. We're just like joking a little bit, But what were we calling him, Dean?
We were just
Hang on, go ahead.
we were poking a little fun at disease over here because he has that glorious head of hair. He was the black belt of the Hairy Claw Dojo over here, and he's getting very philosophical on us too and deep. So
Yo,
on that monk level, I think the name is actually fitting.
yes, yeah, man.
Man, thank you, man. Thank
It's
you.
not
No
just
doubt.
that by cause of the pandemic that his hair looks like this. It's intentional, y'all.
Mhm.
Like
That's hard work.
he's pre-pandemic, been in a hermit in the mountains creating.
It's like that commercial from Geico. Even a caveman can do it. That thing always has me laughing.
Yo, for real, man.
That shit is
Like
funny.
just to be clear, folks, we're not sponsored by that little lizard.
Yeah, no.
But shout outs, holla at us.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Down for some insurance,
That shit is
But
funny.
that's like jokes aside, like that is a kind of perspective that creatives need to not just creatives. I would say I probably open it up to everybody
Yeah.
to definitely explore that, like those little like intricacies of life, right? And those details like you were just mentioning, like it's critical.
Yeah, because it's. I mean, you just, especially now with what's going on around the world. Like, I still can't believe it, man.
Yeah.
It just like you just have to get inspired by something. I know, like maybe, maybe there's but just
No,
and whatever you do it 110% because that 10% that's gonna be lacking. You're gonna be sleeping for a little bit, so you're still doing 100%
Yeah.
on what you're doing. So
yeah. That actually reminds me of a quote that I'm probably gonna butcher it right now, but it's the same way that you were talking about inspiration. That one kind of reminds me too. It inspires me. It kind of kicks up that little flame inside all of us. Like
yeah,
to keep going. But it says something like, "We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems." So systems replace that word with like behaviors or habits. You know what I mean? So the kind of habits that you cultivate on a daily basis or on a weekly basis kind of determine the quality of your life. You can have the most ambitious goals, but if you're not putting those little like one step in front of the other or paying attention to some of those like details,
yeah,
then it's gonna be a bland like dinner. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think in that sense, you're bringing something very deep into the conversation, and I think in today's times, it's very fitting, right, to really live in the now, be present to everything, and enjoy that sweetness of life.
Yep.
I appreciate that, man. That's a deep ass like perspective that's needed these
Yeah.
days. You know what I mean?
And
You know,
that's-
Let's switch gears here a little bit and talk about some music, man. What do you got cooking up in the lab? Like I know, for folks who aren't familiar with Disease 84 and his, dungeon, or should I say his dwelling. What we're First of all, thank you for letting us crash your studio here
no
and
problem. No problem.
setting up and doing this podcast, right? Snacks and Raps podcast here, and being gracious enough to be a guest, on the
No
mic
problem,
and
man.
helping us get rolling,
Much appreciated.
right? Able to let us Dean Prof and us also chop it up, and now we got you on the mic here. But we want to know, man, like what the heck's up in the lab? What you got cooking up, man? Like you're staying here like for life, like you're a prisoner of this place. You only go outside to the yard, you know, like
to
to
sunbathe.
to sunbathe, yeah, to get that brown skin brown and shit, you know. And then to, you know, maybe chop it up with the bugs and nature and shit a little bit.
Like, what's up, little buddy?
Yeah, he's like, get those details in, you know. But what you got cooking up, man? Like, what, you know, what can folks, you know, be on the lookout for, or what did you just finish and put out there that you wanna, you know, get some attention on?
Yeah, man. So I'm right now working with the artist in Chile, by the name of Oxidum. We finished up an EP maybe about 4 months ago.
Okay.
Called La Venganza de Turi Giuliano.
Okay.
So if you guys get a chance, go and check that out. We did 4 tracks. We released it here. I released it through Spotify, and it's on YouTube on all digital platforms. So that was one of the big projects that I had this year that I released. But I have some other projects that was big just because the work ethic that he put in. You know, I was pretty much just like Dean Prof, man. That, like, their work ethic, it was on point, and so I knew that. I was like, you know what, they're like, I'm not gonna be playing around. I'm just gonna do, you know. He actually helped me move to the next level, if you could say that, you know, because his work ethic and the way he brought himself, the way he conducted himself, and I was just like blown away, just like I was blown away with Dean Prof. But being that he's out all in Chile, like, I was like, wow, because he speaks a lot of Spanish, so I was like, yo, like, if anything, I could probably hear Dean Prof and Oxidum on a track, you know,
Yeah.
because they're that lyrical. So I was blown away by his work ethic. So I was, you know what, let me just let me see where I go and take this, you know, jump to the next I guess phase or something. I don't know. You can call it
phase level. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the next chapter.
Yeah. So I have that, and we're actually gonna be coming up with a video. I did all the video edits on InShot. So,
nice.
So that was pretty good.
Getting creative there, right?
Yeah.
Using what you got. You know.
Yeah, you have to, man, because everything is working out.
You hear that out there? All you creatives that say, nah, I need better equipment. I need, just start with what you got in your hands.
Yeah.
That device costs you somewhere $1,000 or less. Use it. It has a good 4K kind of camera. And if you don't got that one, maybe you should upgrade to something like that to get you going.
Man, you just have to use what you have. So I did the video. So the track is called Tesla Rap. I meshed some video footage that he shot me. If you guys get a chance, we're gonna release it next month. So I have a couple more tracks with him, and then I'm working on.
Where are you
project.
releasing that on?
That's gonna be through YouTube. That's gonna be through YouTube, and then we're gonna be looking at all their digital platforms, like video.
Okay.
I don't know. I only know YouTube, so I'm pretty sure there's other platforms that show video. So we're gonna look into that to drop that video, and then I'm working on a small project with some guy in France by the name of OKS Rogue.
Okay.
So I'm working with them, and as far as here, I have a couple projects that I've been working on some instrumental projects and a couple other projects that I'll be releasing pretty soon. With big shout out to Brown Lucci. We're working on an album, Bad Die Hard Part 2. We got Journey into Zion. Big shout out to Journey into Zion, Kazi Jones. We're gonna be kicking up a project, but that's pretty much almost done. Okay. So we're gonna be releasing that. So I have a couple projects out there.
I heard, man. I heard. So. That's what's up, man. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is partly why he doesn't go out. You know, he takes a short trip out to the yard and back to the seat of, you know, production, because he's deeply entrenched in creative projects that he's trying to get out. You know, and that again is a testament to the commitment that Disease 84 has to the craft, you know, that he's cultivating there, you know, as not just a beat maker, but a producer in general, you know, because he's crafting that sound of an entire album, you know, helping to bring to life the creative vision of another artist. And that takes, you know, skill. It's not something that you just, you know, pop in the oven, you know, or even like the microwave and just be like 3 minutes, bing.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of meal that he cooks up, you know. And so I'm always impressed by that, you know, by the level of dedication, and then not just that, the output, right? The quality of sound and the quality of the work that comes from that. And then if y'all didn't catch it, how subtle and humble this guy is, right? This man dropped a few names of folks who are not even in the States. You know what I mean? Like he mentioned some friends of his out in France and where else? Chile.
Chile.
You know what I mean? Where else? This man just casually is like, yo, I'm getting around the world without moving from the seat just yet. That's mad impressive to me. You know what I mean?
Man, thank you, man.
Like that your work is getting that kind of reach, and that you're, you know, that ambitious to work with folks outside of, you know, the creative circle that you have here locally, but also building that network out, you know, globally. So that's really dope, man. Shout out to Disease 84
Man,
with that
thank
kind
you.
of
Thank
moves
you.
there, you know.
You know, it's sometimes you just have to kind of like, you know what? I don't even know how that happened, but like, you know, it just something. Honestly, I can say if you're consistent at what you do, whatever it is that you do, as long as you do it for 10,000 hours and just dedicate yourself at doing that for 10,000 hours, which is almost like what 10 years we talked about last time.
Yeah, it's
If-
about
Whatever you do, man, it could be fucking exercising,
Mhm.
or it could be plotting to rob a bank, or
don't do that, y'all. We're not
Or-
we are not condoning that kind of activity. Nor are we subscribing to the belief that stealing from a bank is something you should consider.
That's just an example.
But yes, go on.
So and then or even skating, or you know, whatever it is, you pick it up, you try it the first time, and you're like, you know what, I like to do it, and you just be consistent. Like
Got
you,
it.
Like
Yeah.
you paint that, you get that brush, you just dab it with a little paint. By the time you know it, you're painting the roads. And
Damn.
like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Calm down, Bob Ross. Calm down, Bob Ross.
Like I was talking about painting a robbery for a bank. That's what I meant.
I wasn't talking actual life. It was a portrait of an strong arm robbery. Yo, man, you got fucking Dean Prof over there cracking up too, man. This fool's wilding out, Dean.
I hear him, man. Got your Andy Warhol bank robbery cracking off in the background.
Yo, for real. It's cousin with a blonde wig and shit, you know, a platinum blonde wig.
So yeah, man, as long as you do it for the amount of time, whatever it is, man, you're gonna be good at it.
I 100% agree with that, man.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like kind of what, you know, Dean Prof and we were talking about that, you know, Dean Prof, you know.
No doubt, no doubt. It's all about putting that repetition in.
Yes.
And every art form has its own sets of repetitions that are required for you to understand the level that you're at.
Yep.
It's like that with art. It's like that with martial arts. It can get as technical as kung fu or boxing, but it's the same thing with a pen stroke. It in your thought process, repeating the same exact exercise once after another until it finally clicks in your head and it's a natural reflex.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it right there.
Mhm.
And almost
It's like breathing, right? Like you don't have to think about it, or
Yeah.
like walking.
Like-
You
Absolutely.
trust that other foot is gonna move when
like,
you need
like
it.
growing up, man, my paisanos would be like, "Oh, ya no se les va a quitar es costumbre," because he's been doing it since 10 years prior to that. That he doesn't know that he's doing it, but he's doing it. You know, till you see yourself doing it, you're gonna realize, hey, you know what? I've been doing this for 10 years. I need to change it up, you know, not do the same thing,
Right.
because that's when habits get picked up. You give it 10 years. Let's say, for example, when I was, I don't know, let's just say 8. If I ever had like a habit of playing basketball, like even though I put in those 10,000 hours, it became a habit for me to pick up a ball. So next time, like I go to the park, it's like you said, it just happens.
Kind of just
Yeah,
naturally
automatic.
go for a
It's just
shot.
a reflex.
Yeah.
Just-
You
it
still
becomes-
comfortable. Yeah,
It
taking
becomes a
that
habit.
shot.
It becomes a habit, and then
Yeah.
so much that it becomes part of your routine
Right.
that you just accustomed to shooting it that way.
You change your natural instincts
Yeah, exactly.
and you conform them to be more precise or accurate in your movement, so
Yeah.
you advance yourself and it stays that way.
Because it takes about 10 years to pick up that same habit
Yeah.
till it becomes kind of hard for it to stop.
Yeah, to master it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something exactly
So you have
of like
to-
second nature.
So I had to kind of like relearn everything because I just was like, you know what, like why did I stop learning? Like I need to learn more. Like that, that's almost the same principle of like you start off one day and you just keep going and you're like, by the time you know it, it just becomes like you can even say I've been at the lab religiously, like not, it's not even
monastically, bro. You've been in monk status and shit.
you
bro.
know. You
You're over
can even
here
say that.
praying to the like fucking NPC pads and shit.
Yeah,
You know?
because now I don't even have like let's say for example, it just
Oh, yeah.
it.
Bro, I
don't
know.
I mean, I just
I mean,
probably go wild crazy and shit.
maybe drop your Instagram for folks, because they need to check out some of those lives that you be doing, because that's the windows that few of us get into, short of being here physically right inside your lab. That's the only window that people get to being able to see.
If nothing else, you guys tune in and check this guy out. Watch Disease do his thing, because not only if you're a producer who's up and coming, you might learn just a little bit from how this man likes to mix and move his stuff around. But it's a dope process to watch, and it gives you a nice insight into his brain and where he's at with the music.
Yeah, and then you can kind of see it behind me a little bit, but this man also mixes his visuals with sound, and then we get an awesome treat sometimes, because not to spoil the whole thing, but definitely check out his Instagram lives. He jumps on with his colleagues, it's motherfuckers like DJ Warlock, jump on and do
Big shout out to my brother DJ Warlock 1.
do a beat session, and these guys just they're like trying to one up each other, knowing that they're both like masters at it, but it's just that friendly sparring, that keeps the iron, like sharp, and
Thank you, man.
those
Appreciate that.
kind of sessions is what I'm saying, like folks need to tune into and check out.
Definitely tune into the
So
beat battles.
what's the goddamn
So you could
Instagram?
you could-
Where you at?
you can
Let
check
folks
me
know.
at Disease84, DISEIZE 84. And then it's gonna have a reference picture of Skeletor, and it's gonna say Disease 84 at the bottom.
Only right.
And you can check me out on YouTube. On YouTube, I do live shows as well, so you can check me out on YouTube. The audio is better on YouTube, I gotta say, if you guys want to check that out.
Hey,
So on YouTube as well, DISEIZE 84, Disease 84. And yeah, man, I hope to see you guys there.
Yeah.
And thank you, RHIPS, for having us. I mean, I think I talked too much, but
nah, man.
thank you, RHIPS, for letting us be part of the Snacks and Raps podcast.
Heck yeah, dude.
And it's always an honor to work with you. Always a pleasure to work with you as well.
Man, likewise.
And so big thank you to RHIPS. Make sure you guys check out the Snacks and Raps podcast episode number
This is gonna be number 2, man.
2.
We're number 2 on the interview side of things, you
Yeah.
know. So we're like Disease is saying, thank you for tuning in. We're gonna be bringing you more and more interviews, man. It's not just my personal network or whatever, but it's like the network of hip hop artists, not just locally, but like beyond the state of California and all that we want to bring you, And so it's really creating a platform for all artists that want to get busy with it. To get busy with it, with us and stuff, here at Snacks and Raps, but
yeah, man, thank you.
more than anything, man, again, we couldn't have done it without us, ambushing you and being like, yo, what's up? We're here at 9 a.m. Well, actually, I wasn't here at 9 a.m. Forgot a wire, but we were here,
bright and early though.
bright and early. Yeah, that would be the choice of word there.
it was well worth it though, man. It's
Yeah.
well worth it, man. So thank you guys for coming. That shit was dope.
Yeah, heck yeah,
Thank you,
man.
Rips.
Most definitely,
Absolutely,
much
bro.
appreciated.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah, that shit was dope.
So there you have it, folks. We're gonna officially sign out here, transition. But thank you so much for tuning in. This has been another episode of Snacks and Raps with your host RHIPS. Keep tuning in, keep spreading the word. We're gonna keep bringing you these insightful conversations with the creatives that we know and people that you might even want to see on the podcast. So if you have any suggestions, we're all ears. Drop them in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit that notification bell so that you're in the loop, stay informed on every time we drop a new video here at Snacks and Wraps. And that's about it, y'all. Let's hit that outro. We deuces, man. We out. Snacks and Wraps.